Welcome back to Motorsport Manager, 8th race of the 2019 season. We're headed off to Munich, which has historically been as tough a track for us as any. And of course, we're holding on to a fairly narrow lead over AMG, so it's still pretty tense. Expecting Menezes to be ready by then, though, and if that's the case and we get a little better luck in the draw, we should be doing all right. I also took a look at our time that it would take for us to max out our current parts that we have developed. Just over 2 months, and it's the beginning of August. We've got almost 3 months left in the year, or almost 4, excuse me. So we've still got plenty of time to deal with that. We can keep developing for the moment. Natalie Pinkham of Sky, thinking of working with him in the future. And yeah, open to discussing terms. I may consider, and why is he listed as a reserve? It seems like everybody's listed as a reserve these days. But new pit stop record. But yeah, he's one of the people I may consider hiring on if and when we promote. I could always make a raid for him right at the end of the year to ensure victory over AMG, but not intending on doing that. And let's see who we've got. No. All garbage. All garbage. Been having particularly bad luck with the pit crew of late in terms of getting new people in. Okay, we definitely want... Okay, Schoenfeld's burnt out. That's unfortunate. Let's get Menezes out of there. Kissinger out on the rear jack. For the front jack spot, I think Wall has got a little bit better stamina than Martz at the moment. Let's make that happen as well. Looks like somebody retired too. Anyway, Amaba out, Kolache in. Al-Badawi out, Bardsley in. So we're now all of a sudden we're a little bit thin on the reserve roster here, and our time's going to be just a little bit slower this race. So I'm hoping we'll get some good people in to help fill this out. Need to keep an eye on that, and I've never had anybody actually recover from the burnt out condition before I just decided to fire them. We'll see if that happens with Schoenfeld or not, but for the moment I don't want to put him out. Okay, so now our car repair is finished, and we can work on Munich. It's supposed to rain. Brakes and suspension are key here. Suspension is the only one I didn't max out. Let's do that. There's lots of boosts we can get. This adds another couple of days, although it's actually going to be faster. And boost the reliability, because yeah, that's 12.7 days, that's 16. So let's go here, and then I don't want any of these. So I think I'm going to want to get this one, and then I could get a third one with this, and I could get a fourth one with this. I could really boost the suspension up high. I don't know how much of that I'll be able to do, but we can at least go here. Suspension is one of our weaker parts relative to the competition, so that would be nice. And yeah, I did boost up our gearbox to first, gearbox, engine first, spoiler first, brakes only fourth, and suspension second, but we're going to improve the brakes here. So I want to keep these out there, but I don't want to have so much. I'm going to want to max them out. I'm thinking somewhere around there for now, and then let's pull all of this out, because we're going to want to max out the 2 brakes in terms of performance and the 1 suspension. So those are the ones we're going to pour it into for now. Although, do I really want to work on the suspension is the other question, because I'm going to get a couple better ones, and it's not going to be that long. So yeah, let's pull that out and just work on those brakes. I don't know which one's going to be more important for this race, but those are the brakes we're going to end the season on, which is not true for the suspension. 84 and 53. Continue. Oh, we've got a new fun thing. Natalie Pinkham has an expose. Running an expose on Team Muck and their awful working practices. We've had testimonials from their mechanics saying they're overworked, understaffed, and a ton of debt. Would you be willing to let us interview your mechanics to give our readers a reference point? They might have a few things to say about your own drivers, but it'll bring Team Muck down a few pegs. Yeah, we're not going to bother with that. They're not a huge rival. Not going to air our dirty laundry in public. Forget it. We're going to keep our team happy. We're just going to focus on what we're doing. 85 and 56. Keep it moving. More scouting reports in. I think I want to add some more scouting here. Considering a new rule change that would totally dispense with physical safety cars in favor of the virtual ones. May have some fans up in arms. It's a much-loved aspect of racing. In favor of moving is AMG driver Timo Shader, says the VSC limits everyone's speed electronically, allows us to maintain the gaps we've built up during a race. Why should leaders be punished for someone else's mistake? And I agree with that, but I'm not going to bother voting. Anyway, look at our scouting, and yeah, we've only got 2 left, so it's time. So is there anybody that's out there right now with a current job that we haven't scouted? And there is not. So I think we just start with the youngsters, because there just isn't that much more scouting to do until we get more, upgrade our scouting center. So after adding everybody that we can that's not in the oldest 34 plus age bracket, and that can drive in our series, you can see we've got a good amount here, but not a ton. With the amount of money that we've got, let's just see, how much more would it take to upgrade the scouting? It would take 6 million and about 100K per race. And I just don't feel like, I don't think that's really, I just don't think that's worth it at the moment. So I'm just going to stick with this, and then once they run out, that's going to be it. No more scouting to do, period. And all of a sudden we're up to first in our breaks just from the relatively modest amount of improvement we've done. We've got a little bit more to go until we pull those brakes out of there. 89%. 90. Okay, that one's out. This one's still in. And let's snag that suspension. Now 11 days. If we put that suspension out and switch everything over to it, there's a chance it might be ready in time. Probably not, but let's work on it anyway. I think that's more important than boosting our performance here. And then do we want to add this suspension into the performance boost? And I think we do. I have that one and whatever the next one is. And of course, let's get plus 25. Plus 20 is the same that we're going... Well, no, this is a minus reliability. That'll be a bigger boost. 9 days after the race. And that may very well be the last part we design this year. And it's sort of touch and go as to whether it'll be will it be worth getting that reliability up. I think we're probably going to have the time, but I'm not entirely sure. So you know what? I'm just going to step back one level there. This won't be quite as good, but we'll have time to max it out for sure. I'm going to go with that. Make sure we actually can use the increased ability. It's also cheaper. All of those things. And look at that. Full bars across the board. Suspension, it says that we're 5th. Yeah. It'd be really nice to improve that before the race, and we'll see if we actually are able to do that or not. And our upcoming vote. Of course, we will abstain yet again. And it looks like most teams not really going to want this. And it does indeed seem to be going against that race, despite what Timo Shader said. Oh, but now it's switching back the other way. 5-5. Another abstention. Another abstention. And he must go. And he says yes. It's the first time we've seen the chairman, I think, vote for anything. So they will change to only virtual safety cars next year. Chairman says we're happy with you being in first. 75% and 54 as we inch slowly up. Report on Munich. 3.1 miles. Likely to be some rain. Brakes are the key part, not the suspension. So our recent brake improvements really going to help us out. Super soft and soft. Good track for tire wear. And they want improved drivers. That's not going to happen. Not this year. 82 and 68. Boy, if we can get that suspension up close to 80, then I can put it out there. If not, it'd be risky when it's a crucial part. And Gustavo is feeling better, so that's all taken care of. More scouting. And for Munich, Decker's going in at the top of the driver's standings. Former driver McNamara says Shader isn't going to make up any ground. Mato Homola feeling great. That's fine. And Campos Racing looking to improve. Overall positive reports all along that line. Up to 81, 91, and 83%. And I think that's good enough. And we're going to give Menezes an improved set of brakes. Huh. Okay, let's switch those around then. There it is. Expected place second. Expected place first. Let's see what our overall rating is now. First, 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 and first. First across the board. So from here on out, unless somebody catches us in something, there is no good reason for us to fear any competitor on any track. Katja Blomqvist has done her job, as have I, with the strategic application of investment in new parts. And now it's time for our drivers to do their job, and to an extent the RNG and the random grids, and let us bring home this championship over the last 5 races of the year. So 16 degrees and rainy for the race. So that would be very much in Super Soft's territory. We could have limited length stints at the start of the race due to the rain, and of course the temperature also better than it would be for softs. And they are of split opinions on the tires. Svaneborg form looking good. Should be able to get away with a one-stop super soft if there wasn't any rain, which there probably will be. And Menezes, we're going to correct your decision there because we definitely do want to go for the super softs, I believe, on this race. So it's sort of a mixed thing. All of the indicators would say, hey, we're ready to do strong things and pull away with this championship, but in good form, both in the 6+ category. But on the same time, we've never done well at Munich. So hopefully that will no longer be the case. No rain today though, at least so far. That's what the forecast says. You can see most cars going out with the super softs. Handling is too soft for Menezes, but Svaneborg likes it. And even at this temperature, you can see the super softs maybe gaining a slight bit of heat, not a lot. It looks like we can hit level 3 on this track, but we'll have to really focus to do it. So that's my goal, level 3. More weight in the front for Svaneborg. And more weight in the front for Menezes, so we have agreement on that point. Menezes looking very fast here early on, but then Svaneborg gets back by him anyway. Probably changes here. Yeah, that should be a decisive pass. More acceleration for Svaneborg. Yeah, and it looks like if anything we're going to have just enough time. So I think I want to only make... I'll try to get away with, and this is dicey, but more acceleration there as well. Dicey, but I want to try to get away with only one change here. It's dangerous to do that, but that's the only way that we're going to hit our target. I don't think I can afford to make another stop, and getting that third, that level 3, is really going to make a big difference. So we'll come in after this next lap. Menezes still first, Svaneborg in the middle of the pack. We're looking very strong in terms of our performance. Both drivers slowing down though. We're going to want to make quick, effective adjustments on this stop and get right back out there, nail that level 3 trim. Yeah, and I'm taking a risk with the race setup. I'm not entirely sure it's worth it. But at the same time, I want that level 3. So we'll see. This is a huge stop. Ugh. Especially with Menezes' setup is not good. And he said he wanted more understeer. I'm not sure which direction to go on the speed. That's probably close enough to decent that I'll keep it there, and then he only needs to be in for 10 seconds. Now we nailed the handling right on for Svaneborg, so that's a good thing in our favor and gives us an 80% overall. We'll go ahead and leave the handling alone. And that's close enough too to be potentially correct. And this should give us a decent reading on what to do. And if I feel like we can come in again, I will, but right now it doesn't look like it. So quick stops. Let's get that time that we need out on the track. And Menezes' best time still ruling it so far. A 2-minute plus track, being able to get to level 3 is huge. And yeah, it's going to be dicey whether we get there at all. I'm going to have to stay out there and just run it the rest of the way and hope for some really good changes at the beginning of the race. So both drivers liking what I did with the ballast. It may not be perfect, but it will be improved. And Norris has surpassed by almost half a second Menezes' best time. He also likes the handling. But still not up to the pace set by the other driver. And Swedenborg doesn't like the handling change, which I knew would happen because I left it wherever it wanted to drift to. And he wants the speed back before, so the speed needs to be more acceleration oriented. Okay, so we're going to get our level 3 right as time ends. And the only question is left, can we nail the setup well enough to be good during the race? Yep, both drivers want more acceleration. We've got enough data points to get to like 95% or so, but we don't have enough data points to max it out. That's how I feel about this. And I hope that's enough. Second and 12th. Okay, looks like it'll be a close one after that race. Norris is going to rock it this weekend. And Martin was struggling. Supposed to rain for the race, and it appears that it is. Only a very little bit at first, but it's going to be it's going to move up. So I think we want to start on inters. 17th and 21st again. Unbelievable. They just hate us. They absolutely hate us. Ugh. Nonetheless, super soft and race trim is where it's at. Got a bunch of stuff to change there. We'll be going all out at the beginning of this. Now what we can see from the weather is that we're going to want to get less than 20 laps out of these. And these tires are rated at 30-some. So yeah, pushing them is no big deal. Then the all-important setup decisions. Okay, we nailed this. We need to get the handling back to where it was. Then the speed balance is the key thing. It went from okay to poor. So if that's okay, we want to put it around here. That's a little bit too low. Okay, now both of those are just a little bit too low. That's about right. And this is close also. I'm going to go with that right there. And of course it's a little nerve-wracking going out there not knowing how good your setup is. These are both right on, so all we have to do is fix the speed. Went from okay to very poor. I think right about at the B, perhaps. And then let's that might be a little bit too far down, but if we've got two at excellent and this one gets close, I feel like both of these really should finish mid to upper 90s. I think I've got enough information, but if I'm wrong, it could really torpedo us, especially given that we're starting at the back again. Okay, where do our rivals start? Well, Jamie Chadwick for Mulsanne, but Mulsanne doesn't matter anymore, really. It's all about AMG. Lucas Auer in row 4, 7th. Could be better, could be worse. And Timo Schader not driving very well up in the 8th row just ahead of us. Okay, so at least they're not handing the race to them. Decker with a 5 there. Menezes with an 8. So I think we have strong reason to be optimistic in Menezes moving up pretty rapidly and Decker moving up slowly. Let's hope that actually happens. Of course, we'll start with Decker. 5.4 and 7.7, and not a good start for Decker. But Menezes looking pretty good. Picking up a spot early, or did. Oh boy, Decker had a couple people just flying around. And unfortunately, it wasn't us. So we're 17th, 18th, and 20th, not moving up a lot so far. Yuck. Yeah, not a good opening lap, and I'm not pleased. '18th and 21st. You've simply got to do better than this, guys. 18th and 22nd. Oh my goodness. 23rd. Menezes not getting it done, and Decker just like holding her own. And we need more than that here. We just need more than that. There's no other way to put it. Menezes sliding up a couple spots now. Decker locks up. We're already several seconds off the leaders at the beginning here. Auer's up to 5th. Schader's up to 10th. And we're twiddling our thumbs at the back of the pack despite maximum effort. And there's Menezes getting the pass on Decker, or at least did. Looks like he's going to hold that. Okay, let's switch back to neutral on the tires now. 17th and 19th. That's a slight boost overall. And now we'll go down to high. You know what, let's push to get that last little bit out of these tires, because it doesn't look like we're going to have any problem maintaining the temp. As cool as it is. Menezes 16th and had the top second sector here in lap 2. Oh, and I didn't have to duck down on the whole bunch of people locking up. Banani and Schader getting hooked up and penalized. So that's very nice for us. Menezes currently battling with Norris, who we battled with in practice, and then running into trouble there on that turn. Menezes looking faster than Schader anyway. And this stop they're going to have to make should put both of our drivers ahead of Schader. They can both beat Schader. We can try to chase down Auer. Any type of points gain in this race, given where we started, is acceptable. Let's go back to neutral on the tires. '11th now for Menezes. Decker up to 13th. So it's taken a little bit of time, but we are starting to make our move. Auer is in 5th. And how far ahead? Only a couple seconds, actually. Like, well, 10 seconds, a little over 3 seconds ahead of Menezes. That's not a huge amount. If he can continue to move up, we could have something. Decker had Albuquerque momentarily, but not for long. Looking to get the inside, though, on this turn. And may be able to hold it. Decker and Albuquerque side by side now down this straightaway. There we go. And now we're 11th and 12th. There's a pack of cars ahead here with Auer at the front of it. Both drivers driving well, but not spectacularly. Ogren and Katzberg hook up. Ogren being investigated. And cleared. Alright, let's go push for a bit here and see if we can't get up a little higher. We're going to want to run a check on our fuel before long. And there's Menezes getting alongside Guerreri. Decker trying to follow through on the inside. And now we're up in the points zone. Menezes going for another one. That is Yelmer Berman. There we go. So it's looking to me like just that our car is strong enough that we're just able to make some of these moves. Perhaps we wouldn't have been able to before. Tire temperature not going up fast at all. So we're pushing in the rain, and that's always risky. Decker locks up, as does Menezes. Same time, he moves up to 8th. And he is now just 2 seconds behind Lucas Auer. Currently we're 8th and 10th, which would be good for still being 3 points short. If we moved each driver up one more, we'd probably be okay. I want to go back to neutral here so that we can sort of push on the next lap when I would like to do a fuel check. And Menezes trying to make another pass. This is Martin. Questionable whether he holds it. There he goes. And he is now only Habsburg. 1.2 seconds between himself and Lucas Auer. And that pulls us even also with AMG for the race. At the moment would be 10 points each. So that would be barely tolerable. Shader all the way back in last. Probably not going to be a factor. Decker, her fastest lap as she sits back in 9th. Up, and I wanted to go neutral on this lap, and I forgot about it. We'll do it one more lap later. I'm wondering about, yeah, I think I want to stay neutral on the tires for now. Because it could be iffy having them last long enough. And look at that, we're going to have a very short break before it gets rainy again. So when exactly we're going to want to pit is an open question. Stuck on the wrong side is Menezes as he tries to make the move. going to go for it again here. Still switching to medium though. 1.42. Looks like I'm going to get the pass anyway. I think, eventually. And now he'll start working on Lucas Auer. Looks like he's got the speed to do it. Not by a great deal, but there's Decker pulling up alongside Martin. Yeah, he's not driving great. It's a bit of a unsure situation, but he's definitely there in 5th. Decker still batting with Martin for 8th, had it and then lost it. So she's starting to find it a little bit rougher going. Not so much for Menezes. She's still driving really well. He is not. Katzberg and Nagy at least appear to be achievable. There we go. And so now we're at a position where looks like we're going to strengthen our lead. And it's just a question of by how much. And our fuel check convinces me that we overran the fuel a bit and we need to stay on neutral. We'll try to get as much out of these tires as I can. At the pace this is being done, it's probably a 2-stop track. I think I want a brief stint on super softs, starting at maybe around lap 15. And then going back to inters. Albuquerque crashes. It's amazing how many crashes we've had that have not been full yellows. Decker moving up to 8th again. And again, probably about to lose it. So that battle with Martin just will not stop. Can she hold it here? This is a key turn to really secure it. And trouble fitting in there right behind Habsburg. There's Martin ducking back around the inside. So who knows if that actually hangs on or not. And honestly, I think Menezes is the fastest driver on the track. Whether or not he can actually win this race is another matter. But when he has room to run ahead, he's actually been catching up to Chadwick. I'm going to give him some push and see if he can get by here. And same thing with Decker, because their tire temps are real low. We got to bump that up anyway. We're now into really the wettest part of this first part of the race. It's going to be wetter later. Menezes looking for a way by Katzberg, one of 4 cars that he still trails. And Decker's moved up to 7th. If Decker gets by Auer, this race is really going to turn our way. Trying to duck there to the inside, and there it is. Menezes waves goodbye to Nick Katzberg, and now has 2 seconds, 2.5 about, to work on Nagy. Decker trying to duck inside Auer. See how that goes for a bit. Has a leg up. The question is, can she hold it? And no, see, Auer's maintaining that inside. Gets it back. And Decker pulls ahead again, but is on the wrong side of this turn as well. Back to the straightaway. Looking to get inside of this one and couldn't quite get there. Well, did for a bit. Nope, so for now, Decker will just sort of hang out. Going back off to neutral for Menezes. I want to keep it up with Decker. See if we can get by here. And Auer putting pressure on Katzberg. There's a whole bunch of things going on there. If Menezes could catch Nagy and get ahead, there's a whole bunch of free room up there. And his distance to Chadwick, again, he's not gaining anymore, but he's not losing either. It's been at 10 seconds for a while. Decent slip there by Decker, but unable to get by. Now has the inside of this turn, but will be on the wrong side for the next one. Ah, but managed nice little move there. Managed to get by. Almost getting by Katzberg as well. Could still make it. Yep, and there it is. Okay, so that's very nice. I'll back her off to neutral now here for a while. And watch Menezes. But that gets us up to 4th and 5th. We're ahead of any of the AMG drivers. We are just behind Mulsanne for the race. But yeah, this would double our lead if this held up. This would be beautiful. Getting close to the end of this first stint. I'm trying to keep the temperature high enough for Menezes' tires while he closes in on Nagy. I'd like to get this under a second. There we go. Now let's push. See if we can make this pass before we come in. And Shader pitting. A lot of cars have come in. I'm wondering. I think I want Decker to come in here because they're too close together to do them on the same lap. So I want Decker to come in now. Yeah, 12% is not a good number when we got to pit them both twice. Let's have Decker come in now and wait another lap for Menezes, who's going to take that number 3 spot. So yeah, definitely have her push, and I didn't think we're going to want to pit this soon. Otherwise I would have worn out the tires a little more. And Menezes now in first place with the fastest lap of the race. As everybody else does come in. Which is a little bit iffy with him being a lap behind them in the pit. We'll see how that works out. And honestly, let's just go push it even more. Because you've got the tires. Now Decker comes out in 7th. Oh, everybody else didn't pit though. Berman and Morris stayed out as well. But yeah, I do think I want to push and make sure I maintain this spot, Decker. Both drivers driving well now. If we look at the splits, they're not, like, Chadwick is not gaining on Menezes. Well, it wasn't until just that last one. So I don't think he did that bad in staying out. Particularly since he was able to go aggressive on the tires. Okay. Come on, let's give ourselves a good pit stop now. Can't argue with that. Again, neutral and push. And he'll come out in third, which is exactly the position he had when he came in. Decker in fifth. And yeah, just over 10 seconds. So, Jamie Chadwick's the only one that really appears to be getting away from us. Isla Agren would be probably achievable. We're really going to want to watch this next pit stop. I think this is a good time for both drivers to drop back to neutral. See if Decker can stay close. Decker with the fastest lap. Let's see if that holds up. So there's only going to be a brief period in time here to set those fastest laps. So that would be a nice additional 2 points. And yeah, we're crushing AMG at this point. Absolutely crushing them. Ours down in 7th, and Shader last car that is still out there on the track. Menezes is catching Agren even without pushing the tires, so he may have a chance to make a pass. Decker holding without pushing the tires. So I'm thinking one more lap, and then I want to push them both to try to get by. Because as good as 3rd and 5th is, 2nd and 4th would be a lot better. Alright, let's go for it here. Push. And push. And clearly, Ayla Agren, a tougher customer than some of the others were. That Menezes has already passed. He's driving well, quality, but not hugely well, and she's holding him off, at least for now. Didn't have a great first sector, but a better second one. Not quite close enough to make his move yet, though. And sets the fastest lap of the race, bar even higher. That's awesome. Decker, not quite there. Pulling alongside here a bit. right behind Nagy. Pushing, 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 but unable to get there. Menezes is keeping the pressure on Agren, but not quite as severely. And Isla Agren's lap was just a hair faster than his best. So both of them burning up the track as they battle for that spot, which it looks like it's going to belong to Agren. The rain just starting now. 6-second gap in between the drivers, which is not enough. And Decker loses the spot to Nagy. Chadwick coming in. A couple others coming in. And yeah, definitely going to have to pit Decker here. I may have waited one lap too far, but I honestly don't think so. I think the other drivers might be a bit early. See what the splits are with Chadwick. Because right now it's 20.4. Yep, Chadwick falling further behind. So we should at least do okay from this exchange. And this, of course, is going to be the last set of pit stops. Yep, we're going to go inters all the way to the end, and it's going to be pretty good inters weather. I will be able to push a little bit with Menezes on the next lap, which won't hurt. Chadwick's lost almost a second this lap. And resets the fastest lap of the race. That is big. I don't see anybody beating that. And Decker with a quality pit stop. We'll go back out on inters and push. And is in fourth. Go ahead and push there. And Chadwick slightly further behind even than was before. And now it's getting pretty wet, but pushing on the tires here, and Chadwick's still not as fast as Menezes is right now. So the pit crew is definitely going to be under the gun here. I like Decker for fourth. But if Menezes is going to have any chance of winning this race, then we need to see a strong stop here. Jack work is good. Tire change is underway. 4 perfect stops with a 12%, or good stops at any rate, with a 12% error rate. That's a little bit lucky. And Menezes comes out. Only a few seconds behind Chadwick now. So second and fourth should be as bad as we do hour and eighth. Shader not a factor. Yeah. This holds, we're going to have almost a race full of gap. So this is definitely looking to be the best showing I've ever had in Munich, and one that's really going to stamp us, I feel, as the team that's going to be really hard to catch for the championship. Now, I do think that we have a fuel problem. I'm going to see how this next lap goes. Okay, 13 laps to go. We do have a fuel problem, but not a huge one. Let's go neutral and low. Let's fix the fuel. And honestly, I don't think I want to push on the tires any more than I need to keep temperature later on, because we could potentially get Decker past Agren, we could potentially get Menezes to the win, but we're in a comfortable position. We're winning over our main rival. We could add more points to it, but I don't think it's worth the risk in wet weather, so it's gonna back off. Looks like even running at low and neutral, Menezes is still catching Chadwick, so he may win anyway. Not so much the case for Decker. Okay, I think I'm now within a tenth. Needed to shave almost 2/10. I'm now within a tenth of the fuel target, so maybe another couple laps and we should be there. I seem to be roughly holding distance now with Menezes. Chadwick not ready to give up on this race yet, that she's won. Or led, rather, wire to wire. Yeah, I think after this lap, I'm going to call it. I'm going to go back up to medium. I'll be close if I don't have enough fuel. We'll check that again towards the end of the race. Now we'll see if Gustavo, just about at that 3-second mark, if he can he get that down to 2 or a little bit under? Can he make consistent progress? I may have to push the tires a little bit at the end just to maintain temp. It sure looks like he's going to be able to make some headway here. That was a bad turn. Let's see, does this turn let me down again? So we get it just under 2 seconds. Yep, so it looks like that part right there is a better part of the track for Jamie Chadwick. But overall, Menezes much faster. Getting a little closer each lap. Yep, I was going to wait a little bit longer, but let's do it. Let's do it for Decker as well. It was definitely, you know, looking very solidly in that 4th spot. And now the gap really closing down, even though Menezes is not driving that well. Decker is driving quite well. Feeling secure. And now Menezes is starting to think about making his move. Jamie Chadwick got to be depressed by this situation, as Menezes, starting in 21st, has come all the way up through the field, was 10 to 11 seconds behind at one point. And she's been almost wire to wire, but right now it's not looking good for her to hold off his charge much longer. Why have I been on the other side of this before? Maintains contact and keeps that inside line, but it's not going to be enough. And now we'll see if he can pull away at all. Back off Decker, and I'll do the same with Menezes in a moment. Now it's up to over a second lead. And with the win there, that would leap him back into first place. Decker right behind. A good lead for both of them. And look at that lead. Yeah, dominant win for us. And I think this really, it's looking like a signature moment. It's looking at like it's the moment at which we seize control of this season and finally say, nope, we are not sticking around in the WTCR anymore. We're going up to the DTM. There's nothing AMG, Shader, Auer, Mulsanne, Muck, or any of the rest of you can do about it. We're too good and we will not be stopped. I'm going to go low push here because I think we have a bit of fuel situation yet to deal with. And I just want to get a bit of a fuel surplus, plus we're going to need to get that temperature up just a little bit higher, but you can see pulling away now, Chadwick, no competition. Should be good now with Decker. Georgi pitting and repairing a few laps before the end, so not a great race for them. And now we'll switch it up also for Menezes. And Decker has closed down what was a much larger gap with Isla Agren, but particularly the way she's driving, I don't see anything really big happening there. 2 laps left. Neither driver are driving particularly great, but at this point it doesn't matter. Got a little bit of extra fuel in each. Boost the temperature just a little bit for Decker. I'm going to hope that's enough. Over 5 seconds ahead, Gustavo Menezes pulling away. Chadwick and Agren will finish out the top 3. Decker very comfortably in 4th, several seconds ahead of Nagy. A few more back to Katzberg, and on it goes all the way down. Lucas Auer up to 7th. Shader having a miserable day down to 21st, starting with that early collision. And overall, a banner day for us. Gustavo Menezes coming around his last few turns. He's going to claim another win. And this one feels like it has a little more finality to it than the ones before. Huge result here in Munich. And there comes Decker. 3 seconds behind Agren. Everyone else finishes. Benani gets a bad turn at the end. But here's the man of the hour coming up from 21st at the start of the race to win by several seconds. You have proven yourself a worthy hire, Gustavo Menezes, and indeed you are one of the best GT drivers in the world. And we definitely got to give a gold star to the pit crew for this one, because they could have easily been a mistake that threw us off our game and cost us a couple spots. That did not happen. Menezes keeping that extra 2 points for the fastest lap. A comprehensive win for him aside from having to come from behind, but in terms of his performance, quite comprehensive. And now actually a little over a full race gap. Because the most points that can be acquired in a race is 45, and we are up by 48. We're up by 2 races over Mulsanne. So only AMG is really even still a threat with 4 races to go, and a much diminished one. So everybody's happy, improved marketability, no boost here for Claire Decker, but we did get some more here as he's continuing to inch closer to some of those improvements. Decker with a 6.5. It's a little bit above average for her, and a 5.5 for Menezes, a little bit below his season average, but it was still good enough to get the win. Due to bonus payments paid out for actually winning the race, we lose a bit of money, but that's okay. So 4 races to go, and we'll head down to Tondela next to try to really lock down this victory. But it's sure looking a lot smoother than it has at any other point in this year. Thanks for watching, everybody. More Motorsport Manager will continue as we head towards the end of what's looking more and more like a victorious campaign.